Hello, everybody. This is Ravy Ray, and you probably know me on the internet. Maybe not. I d- mm. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, you've been following me for a while. This is probably like It's been a while since y'all heard my voice, so and you probably noticed that my YouTube channel has changed a little bit. It's gone from gaming to more artsy and creative. And yeah, that's really it. It's becoming more artsy and creative. So you expect more videos for creativity and arts and stuff. There are other things that I have planned in store for this channel. Um, and you may or may not see those changes coming this year, but they're gonna happen. Um, but thank you for following me for this long. If you've been here since me screaming on Undertale, so um, all right. So let's get on ahead and talk about this new series. This is kind of different from even the other art related stuff that I've been posting lately, which has all been digital. This is something traditional. You see me working in my sketchbook, right? Or about to work in my sketchbook. So I decided to do the series where you guys get to ask me questions. I tend to get a lot of frequently asked questions on my art blog, which is ravyray.tumblr.com. And all the links to my social media accounts are in the description box below. So if you are wanting to follow me on there or try to get in contact with me and want to ask me questions and stuff, you totally can. But the series is going to be me just answering questions that I tend to get frequently on Tumblr, Twitter, on Twitch. Yeah, and if you want to ask me those questions, feel free to go on those sites. Feel free to ask me on Tumblr. Feel free to ask me on Twitter. Feel free to ask me in the YouTube comment section. Not on my Instagram. I don't really check my Instagram often. It just doesn't. It's not really a platform where I talk a lot on there. But yeah. So this first question, which I get a lot, plenty, is about art school. But this one in particular is from Frozen X Heart. And I got this from Tumblr. And it says, "Hi, hate to bother you, but I was wondering if I could ask you about SCAD. How was it? Your artwork is an inspiration and totally motivates me. And SCAD seems awesome, but expensive. So, yeah. All right. So let's start off by saying you are never bothering me if you have questions. Feel free to ask them. I love answering them. Will I answer all of them all the time? Probably not, because I'm so busy and I do entirely. I make myself busy. I do so much, but I do love getting them, and I do try to answer every single one of them. If they're general questions. Now, if they're work-related questions, girl, email me. Go to my website and email me. But general questions like about art school and stuff like that, feel free to ask. If you don't know what SCAD is, SCAD stands for Savannah College of Art and Design. It is a liberal arts school. It's a private institution. It's a university, all those words. There is a campus in Savannah. There's a campus in Lacoste. There's a campus in Hong Kong, and there's one in Atlanta, which is the one that I went to all 4 years of my school career. I did not take any classes on any of the other campuses, even though I'd love to. I would have loved to. The main campus is Savannah, but I decided to go to Atlanta. So, all right. So the first point I want to get into, now, I know this is more of a specific question from Frozen X Heart, and I am going to answer it, like, how was it, which is I loved it. It's great. Short answer is it's a fantastic school. I don't regret going at all. Um, I probably would have done things differently, and I'm going to get into that in this video. Um, what else? As far as you being inspired and motivated by my art, oh wow, thank you. And that getting those kinds of compliments makes my heart soar, makes my belly warm. Just makes me feel good. So thank you for that. And as far as SCAD being awesome but expensive, yeah, that pretty. You actually summed up SCAD right there. It's awesome, but it's expensive. And I mean, it's not. This doesn't just go. Um, this isn't just for SCAD, right? This isn't just a thing about SCAD. This is like all art schools, I believe. This is any private institution, especially private institutions. They tend to be a lot more expensive than public colleges and shit. So, ooh, excuse me. Um, can I wild out? Can I just cuss? I'm just being real with you. So I want to get into why I decided to go to art school and why I chose SCAD in particular, but why I decided to go to art school. Um, so I wanted to go to art school to learn how to animate. Y'all see me do a lot of illustrations, which I do love to do. I do love illustrating. Don't get me wrong. I love drawing, and I kind of have like a comic book-esque style as well. I had a concentration in sequential art, and that's a major that you can also do at SCAD. But I wanted to learn how to animate and pretty much do my own thing to do stuff like this, which is creating my own content, being my own content creator. Um, so yeah, and being able to animate very well. um, I wanted to learn how to animate in an environment that is just super creative, and I have access to all the industry standard tech, and meeting great people and having access to things that I guess a public school just wouldn't have, like a public university wouldn't have. But who's to say? I've never gone to one. So I also my chair is squeaky. I'm sorry, y'all. And it interrupted my thought process. Another reason why I went to art school. Well, I went to the one in Atlanta, the SCAD campus in Atlanta, because I wanted to go, well, where the action is, right? Savannah's beautiful. I've been down there, but I've been down there for SCAD for work. But I didn't take any classes down there. But from what I can tell, because it's kind of like the SCAD's presence is strong and very prevalent down in Savannah. Like, it seems like anywhere you go down in Savannah is SCAD. SCAD is just right around the corner on the buses, the stores, just everywhere. SCAD. So there's that. That's as much as I can tell you about Savannah. It's beautiful down there. There's ghosts. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can tell you about SCAD Savannah. But Atlanta, I decided to go there because cost. It was even expensive back when I started school, which was back in 2011, and I graduated in 2015. So, yes, I went there to be able to commute and stay off campus and save some money, and plus it just seemed smart because I wanted to also get a internship. So, right around the street, like down in the street, down the street, basically, like it's maybe less than like 3 to 5 minute drive, is Turner, the main campus of Turner. I was an intern for Adult Swim there. So, I did like, that was all strategic for me to go to SCAD Atlanta. As for art school, if I wanted to go to school, I wanted to do something that I love to do, what I was really good at, and I figured I'd make a career out of. And I just kind of knew that I had to go, if I wanted to do this, it'd have to be creatively. Um, Also, the discipline. Like, I wanted to be in a controlled environment. And I was used to grades and, like, the school atmosphere, right? So there was another reason why. Um, I walked around the campus and school and just being able to see like light tables and like just the atmosphere there is just so creative and so beautiful and just it's great. So those are my reasons why. The pros. Another point. Let's get on to moving on to the next point. The pros and cons of art school in general. This isn't just specific to SCAD. So number one, pro. You it's easier for you to network and make lifelong friends and career connects in school, right? So the people that you are going to class with potentially will be the ones that will help you get a job later on, right? So that's a pro. Another pro, you're able to collaborate a lot easier on in school in campus. Like think about why there are like if you're really like into internet culture and just online and YouTube personalities and internet influencers or whatever, whoever that may be, or you follow people that tend to collaborate with one another, like known personalities, like internet personalities tend to collaborate with one another because they're in the same area and they can do that. That's what that is. But in a school environment, there are labs and you would be working on a project or working on, for me in my case, like my film or whatever. And then right next to me would be another peer that may be doing the same thing or doing something else, or they might be someone that's a graduate that can help me out. Like the fact that it was like a community really was fantastic, right? And they're just right there, right next door to you. Number three, the name of the school definitely helps. It's definitely helped me quite a bit. Like whenever I said I went to SCAD, and there'd be people be like, "Oh, SCAD," that kind of thing, right? Number four, connections with your professors can help you find work if you ask. They will help you if you ask them via like Facebook, whatever. Like these people are, that's definitely helped and has happened to me. So definitely a plus. There are also professors that still work within the industry, right? Some professors were part-timers. So just imagine, physically being present in front of a professor that is still working in the industry, right? And they see your work ethic and they see your work, right? They'll be able to vouch for you or even send your name off to potential employers if you're into that sort of thing. So think about that. That's a pro. Number five, access to industry standard tech and, deals on that tech, right? So there would be deals on softwares that would be like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to the public. But for you, a student, it'd be way less. It'd be affordable or free. So there's that. Then if there's one thing I miss about school is, oh God, the sales, the deals, Number six, events exclusive to the school and its students. There are just some events, some talks, some fest, and some just things that is just for you, just for the students. So, and that could also be, networking opportunities. So there's that. Number seven, opportunities to do work for places like Adult Swim. So I was able to be an intern for Adult Swim. Nowadays, like I see on my Facebook wall from professors that I used to have, they would say, "Hey, look what my class look what my class was able to do as a bumper or as a quick little bumper for Adult Swim. That's the thing. Like Adult Swim would come in and they would have, some students do some stuff for them. That's kind of cool. It's pretty cool, right? Number 8, controlled environment to help you stay focused and disciplined. The fact that there's just something about being in a room like like a traditional classroom that kind of puts you in the mindset to get things done, to keep you focused and it's controlled, and it just all of that helps. And sometimes some people really need that extra level of discipline or extra level of control in their environment to help them stay focused. So some people need that, right? And I'm not knocking it, because that's definitely how I felt. I felt like, okay, I want to do this thing, and I figured it would be best to go and be. I never had the experience of only taking creative classes, right? I've always had, I didn't go to, I guess specialty schools that focuses on well, that's kind of a lie. I've gone to like tech schools, like as a class. Like I'd have a class where it would require me to go to a separate school, and that school and it'd be like another high school, right? And I just needed to provide my own transportation. And thanks to that experience, I've learned how to use like Adobe products a little bit better. But I was learning Adobe products even before taking that class, right? So there's that. What else? Where's I at? So number 9. Being around talented people can inspire you to become stronger in your craft. So not only do you have the benefit of being in a controlled environment, you're also in a space where you're surrounded by nothing but talented people that will inspire you even further, and you have the opportunity to become their friends. So that's a pro. Number 10 is a lot of the programs tend to teach you as much as they possibly can within 10 weeks. So we have 3 quarters. There was the fall quarter, the winter quarter, and the spring quarter. There's also the summer quarter, and each quarter is 10 weeks long. So it's very fast paced, right? It's and there's just so many you'll be taking a lot of classes that will try to touch on literally as much as it possibly can within your major and your focus. So that's cool that you'll be able to not have all your eggs in one basket. Those are my pros as far as I can remember and think of. I feel like I missed a point. While I was talking about being in an environment and controlled environment or whatever. Oh, right. I feel like, so even though I was able to go to a school where it gave me the opportunity to go to another school for like a class, just one class, right? To learn it, the class was called Digital Media. And that's funny because when I went to SCAD, we had our own building called the Digital Media Center. So in a way, I was kind of being trained already in high school, but that was based off of my interest in being able to, free up as much credits as possible during high school and like during summers so that I can get those classes out of the way and be able to take these extra classes at another school, because my home school didn't have those classes or focus or specialization in their building, if that makes sense. So I was able to do that. But I've never had experience where my entire high school was just art, right? I've learned, even though I knew that my focus was always to some degree, I always sort of knew that, okay, I'm going to be working in entertainment in some way, right? I just didn't have that opportunity to stay focused on that until junior, senior year of high school and all of my college career. So I wanted to have that experience of doing and being surrounded by everything creative, right? Anything else wasn't of interest to me. So that was another reason why I went to art school. Now, I don't know if it was a smart reason, but it was definitely a reason that influenced me to take the decision that I took, which was to go to art school. All right, so let's talk about the cons. Number one, it's very expensive. Now, if you feel like if if one of their number one concerns is the expenses of it, that's a sign. That's a sign. And I think especially during this day and age, right? And we're gonna get into that a little bit more. But the fact that it's super expensive and that I had friends that had to take long breaks. I've had friends that had to work. I had to work. Like I also had to work in order for me. Like I had to pay out of pocket, like up front. Like there were times I was on a payment plan, right? And I had to try to cough up like thousands of dollars in order for me to take classes. And I needed to do that, or I wanted to really do that because I didn't want to take a break. I didn't want to like take, I didn't want to, I wanted to graduate within 4 years, right? I didn't want to spend any longer than that. I was really stubborn, you know? So because I was so stubborn in that regard, you know, I had to work during the majority of my college career. I didn't work my last year of college, but 3 years of college I was working. I was doing nothing but work. So and that affects your grade. That kind of affects your experience in college as well. And what I'm like 24 now, so I went to college, art school, right after high school, like just right after, and yeah, yeah, that was like that definitely had a impact on my grades. It had an impact on my experience there. Like I don't think I was able to experience a lot of things in college because I was either in school, at work, or asleep. And I wasn't asleep often. We're gonna get into that a little bit later on too. All right, number two. I can only speak for my program, like SCAD's animation program in particular. But I can imagine that this is also a thing in other art schools as well. Your program may have you dabbling in all types of whatever your major or your focus may be. So for me, they had me dabbling in all types of animation. And that could be seen as a little bit problematic if you want to specialize in a particular area instead and you know what that area is. But in order for you to get your degree, you or this specialized degree or whatever, you have to take the classes that is in the catalog or curriculum. Yeah. So you're paying for these classes that you kind of are like, I don't really care for this, right? Like especially if you already know you want to specialize in an area already, right? So that may be something to think about. You may have to check whatever art school that you're interested in, their catalog and see what classes they're going to have you taking and kind of read up on it as much as you can, do as much research as you possibly can, and think about whether or not you think it's worth it. Like if you think that that's something that might concern you. All right. Number three. So remember when I talked about there were like, you know, exclusive events at the school. So sometimes those exclusive or very special events, there are times where there are special events that are open to the public. So you may have to pay if you don't go to SCAD, but at least it's not a full tuition's worth. So yeah, I mean, when I was going to school, my tuition was like 30 plus K. So 30,000 plus. a year. And then it went up to like 40,000 plus a year. Now I think it's like 50,000 plus, and maybe more. Like we noticed that the tuition was increasing each year we were going to school. So, girl, oh girl. So think about that. Like I've learned, and I can tell you this much: out of the events that I went to, I learned so much about the industry, my preferred industry, or other industries that I happen to have like hop into and stuff. I learned so much just going to these events alone. So if you if you want to go to an art school, or or if you have the privilege of having an art school in your area, just look into seeing if they have like workshops. Like even SCAD has workshops, and the workshops were a lot more affordable. They're not tuition's worth. So I wouldn't say go to art school for these special events, right? Because there were definitely events even after I left. Like I would go. There are times where I'm still being invited to events now that I'm alum, and they're open to the public. So yeah, girl, check that out. And think about that. There are cheaper alternatives to art school. Now this is a thing. I felt like there weren't any, or there weren't any that I thought were as, you know, I don't know, of quality. Back when I was going to school, until I was going to school. Like as soon as I was going to school, I couldn't help but notice, oh wait, there's like alternatives. But before then, there weren't. We weren't there. We didn't have access, or we didn't even know about the fact that there were like alternatives to school. And one of them, one of them that I want to talk about is called Schoolism. So there's a site called Schoolism, and they can teach you how to like gesture draw, environments, character design, storyboarding, all this stuff, right? And these are classes that I took in college, right? And these are being taught by people that are working in the industry or have worked in the industry, and they found time to, do stuff for Schoolism, right? So what's cool about Schoolism is that it's like a subscription base, and you can pay like $15 per month to have access to like take a class. $15 a month. So $15 against $50K a year is like, woo, what a deal, right? And it's still like there are people that are like professionals, that they would consider professionals, or are professionals, that are still taking classes in Schoolism, or these online classes that you may not get a degree for, but who cares? Because no one really looks into a degree when it comes to creative work. They look at your portfolio. So there's that. Also, if you want feedback from these people, right? If you want feedback, you can you can pay close to 1,000, I believe. I could be wrong. Check out their website. I'm gonna provide a link in the description box below. But yeah, you can pay around like $1,000 or so, and you have access to the professor or the instructor of that class. They'll send you video feedback, and you will have one-on-one feedback with them on your work. So again, that's still way, way cheaper than going to school. And I think also consider this. If you're going to a school, like a physical school, you run the risk of going to a class there's a lot of students in the class, right? There are definitely times where where we had a full classroom, and that kind of hurt us because there would be so many people that may need the professor's attention, but he couldn't come to all of us in time because he liked to give one-on-one feedback to to us, and critiques may take longer than a day or two, because there's so many of us in classroom. Whereas Schoolism, you get that one-on-one feedback from this person, and there's only so many slots. Like it's I believe it's unlimited if you're doing the subscription base, which is the $15 per month, and like $1 to switch classes. And I think maybe 6 slots. I could be wrong. If you were to do the one where you're wanting feedback and critiques, and the professor actually going onto your documents and kind of drawing notes on top of your work and shit like that. So again, there are alternatives, and it's not just schoolism. There are other things too. I can't think of them right now, but schoolism comes to my mind first. And this is a great alternative for those that have to work, have dependents, all of that. Number 5, the con. You can network and make lifelong friends on the internet. There are so many great artists that we kind of know of, right? Or you may follow that you consider successful, right? And they didn't go to art school, and that doesn't stop them from being a great artist. So, yeah, I mean, you can make lifelong and networking friends in person, but you can also make those same things and those same connections online, right? And that's definitely happened for me. Like, I'm like, wow, I've made some great friends, and I didn't go to school with them. We met on Twitter. So think about that. Think about, social media presence and the importance of that. We didn't have, I don't know if they're doing this now in schools, but I know that when I was going to school, and again, I just graduated in 2015, we didn't have like a class or anybody telling us how important social media was. I knew it was important, but we didn't have, our professors or anybody telling us, because again, they didn't need that when they went and got work, right? They didn't need social media. They didn't have social media. So nowadays, social media has made it a lot more easier. And again, an alternative. Just to go back to number 4 with schoolism, I mean, you can go on YouTube and look up some ways to like do stuff. I've learned some things from like about Photoshop on YouTube, and some just going on Google and asking about what to do if I have a problem with Photoshop. I still do that today. So it's not like I'm like a super amazing artist because of art school. There's so many things I still have yet to learn and I need to focus on and get better at, even after art school. All right, so what else? Number 6, school is a business. Always. All right. So there's going to be times where morale may be shot because school is a business. There have been times where I had friends that failed their classes, and it's out of their control because they may have, some disabilities, and a lot of other ailments, a lot of other interpersonal issues and home issues, and like financial issues that can definitely have an impact on, their education and going to class. And I can only speak for SCAD here. SCADs, they had a really, really strict policy on like being tardy and showing up to class. So you can fail a class if you miss more than 5 classes, I believe. So definitely, like, and there we go, thousands of dollars gone, right? And even then, I think I remember having a professor even talk about, if you miss a class, you know how much money you're losing, like you're wasting by not coming to class. Like that's a thing that, was said to us again. And a lot of this keeps going back to expenses. So yeah. Let's see, what else? I mean, there's going to be situations and places and things, like many situations and stuff, where the business side of things can frustrate you and can even just kind of break your heart. So think about that. School is a business. It's a business. And just picking off of number 6. Number 7, if you are of a marginalized community, if you're a part of a marginalized community or of a marginalized identity, you will, of course, like in any situation, in any kind of, in a society, like this is U.S. centric, United States centric, but Of course, you're going to experience microaggressions directed towards not only you, but the work that you produce. Especially if you're someone who wants to create work that focuses and highlights those identities and those marginalizations, or just, just showing things that you don't already see out there, right? It's not, or is not considered mainstream. You will experience microaggressions, and that can break your heart, and it can like lower your morale, and it can be very challenging. I've experienced these microaggressions. I have friends that have experienced this. There have been things said that have been like, whoa, what the fuck, right? So there's that. And I think this just says anywhere. So just think about that. Think about that. I mean, and also understand that school isn't always accessible. And think about those alternatives where it kind of makes it a little bit more accessible to you. So say if you, you just can't go, you just don't have the means to go to to physically come to a school. That's okay. There are alternatives. Or if you have a very irregular schedule, that's okay. There are alternatives. Of course, that's going to require discipline on your part, but there are alternatives, and they're affordable alternatives. So, all right, let's moving on to number 8. School teaches you how to be an employee, not really the employer. So you're going into an art-related career focus, and you will have to know how to be a freelancer first and foremost. And freelancing is basically you being your own boss and your own agent, and you find work and always constantly on the prowl for work. I mean, there's definitely, again, programs and agencies and applications and websites that you can use to help you out. But as far as, these schools are concerned, if you are a freelancer, you are employed, right? And for you, you may be like, no, I want to be on payroll. I want to be a full-time employee somewhere physically with benefits and insurance and stuff like that. That might be you, and that's fine. But the reality is you will be a freelancer mostly, and you will be contracted. And you may not be contracted for long, and you may not, it's not a guarantee that they're going to ask you to stay on their payroll or stay with the company after your term is up. So that's a thing. If you're in if you're wanting to have an art-related career, it's going to be very irregular. It's gonna be really irregular. There's a lot of responsibilities going to be placed on you, especially during tax season and stuff like that. Like, these are things that school doesn't really teach you. There's books on it, and there's definitely resources out there for you, but that's something that you are going to have to learn on your own. I did not learn some of the things that I'm learning about business and about taking on orders and doing forms and just technology in general from school. But they taught me how to be hired, right? So, but what if you're still it's not likely that you're gonna leave right out of college with a job. Like, that's not everyone's reality. You may leave out of college and you won't have a job ready for you, or you're not ready yet, right? And I mean, like, professionally, like, you're not ready to be taken on, and you have a ways to go as far as growth is concerned. So there's that. All right, and the last point is the crippling debt after. It's crippling debt, and that's my current situation right now. So let's get into some tips on deciding whether or not art school is for you and whether or not you should go or not. But like I said, not, and so many words that didn't need to be said there. But number 1, why do you want to go? Number 2, what do you think you will get out of it if you went? Number 3, do you think you won't be successful in your career if you don't go? That's a really important question. And I mean, if the answer is no, which it should be, yeah, like think about it. Think about alternatives. Think about the fact that there is no right or wrong way about pursuing a creative career, an art career, especially in the social media age. Like, you don't necessarily need to go to art school to be successful. There are plenty of successful artists out there that did not go to art school. So one of the things I learned is that like every creative has a different story on how they got to where they got to, right? So where I want to end up eventually, I'm probably going to go all which ways and wherever before I get to where I really want to be in life, right? But just know that there's no right or wrong way. There's so many ways to get to a destination. So many ways, so many detours, so many routes, so many possibilities, some shorter, some longer, but they're not a wrong way, all right? It's not wrong. None of these routes are wrong. So in conclusion, I hope I answered the question about art school, whether or not you want to go, SCAD in particular. But, you know, for me, SCAD was great. I don't regret growing at all. I would do some things differently. One of those things being that I probably would have gone to community college first. Like, if you really want to go to art school, I would consider transferring to art school. I would consider going to community college to get your general education credits out of the way and done, so that you're not paying art school prices if you were to take them at art school, right? You shouldn't be paying like so much money for general ed classes. You should be paying for the art classes, right? If you want to go to art school. So think about that. I mean, I would have done that differently if I were to go back into the past. I can't go back into the past, and I won't harp on it, and I don't regret my experience or my attendance at SCAD at all. For the most part, I'm satisfied. I wish I had learned some other things. I wish I was proactive in other areas, my stay there. And, but girl, I'm satisfied. So that's it. I hope that this video has helped you. I hope that I helped you in some way, facet. I hope you learned something. And I hope I helped you to consider things. Most importantly, full disclaimer, I'm not responsible for the decisions that you make after viewing this video. I am not responsible for ruining your life if anything were to happen after this. But I do hope that it has helped you. Most importantly, if you have any questions that you'd like for me to answer, feel free to drop them in my comment section. You can go to my Tumblr if you want to be cute. You can go to my Twitter. All of those links are in the description box below if you want to ask your question in some kind of way other than on YouTube. But definitely, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this first episode in the Q&A series. I hope you enjoyed the video of me painting and using watercolor and colored pencils. That was fun. I really do miss doing things traditionally, and touching physical stuff and paper. It's lately it just seems like I've only been working digitally, and I miss doing things traditionally. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some stuff out of this. And bye y'all.